Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. This is Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much again for joining as always. I hope you had a wonderful festive holiday and that you've had plenty of food and drink, lots of time with your friends and family, and that you got some good gifts from Santa Claus, which hopefully has, given us some nice entertainment and stuff for the years to come. So, now that we're all back into the grind, we're going to go ahead and get started with the new year. This is going to be for the month of January 2025. We're going to read for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And this is going to allow us to see exactly what's taken place for our Cancerians and see exactly what's going to be in store for them for this period. We're going to hopefully kick off everything right for this new year, and we'll see a much more positive turn from the craziness that was the events of 2024. So, order of the day, as always, if you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates from future postings. And additionally, if you'd like a personal reading with me, one that is in tune with your specific energies and not those of the collective, feel free to reach out to me at the information provided in the description box below. Now, without further ado, Cancer, you're up to bat. Let's get started. It's happening for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising for January 2025. Opening for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising for January 2025. Okay. First up, Cancer's current energy. Oh God. Okay. This is good. This is good. Challenge. Recent past. Near future. Okay. Look at that. Single Cancerians. Got the core of the reading. What is that? The crown? What is the penultimate outcome for the month of January 2025? Clarify the Four of Swords. Okay. So, got quite a bit going on here, but we will look into the matter as it stands. Let's also go ahead and take an oracle card for the reading. All right. A lot of scorpionic energy taking place here. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and get started. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Seven of Swords in the reverse. So someone has basically been found out to be a naughty boy or naughty girl. Probably not on Santa's, you know, good boys and good girls list. But anyway, whatever has taken place, it's been revealed. Maybe this is you kind of looking at yourself and finding out exactly how you have been self-sabotaging, or if someone has done something to you, you are now getting into understanding exactly what that person has done and finding out what's been taking place behind the scenes and behind your back. Um, Looking into your current energies right now, you have the Ten of Wands and you have the Devil both in reverse, which is telling us that you're letting go of a horrible toxic burden that has been that you've either been attached to in the recent past, or that you have found within yourself that you are now trying to rectify. This is a bit of that philosopher's stone ideology where you are looking into the things that you have been doing, been attached to, whatever burdens that you've taken on, whatever toxic behaviors or traits other people have been showing you, or you have been showing other people. However, it's manifested. You are now trying to pull yourself out of that and move forward. The challenge now is figuring out how to grow next, because you do have the Empress here, which is the card of abundance, fecundity, and also knowing your worth and your own value. If that's being a challenge, it's like, okay, well then where do I go from here? Which direction am I going to? It's almost like it's almost like the Empress in reverse. It's like not knowing your worth, not knowing your value, being a bit smothering, being a bit bitter, learning how to step into that masterful feminine energy, which is the complement to the Emperor. That is going to be your challenge for the month of January 2025. In the recent past, you did have the World card. This is in the reverse due to Five of Swords, which is conflict, trying to win at all costs. Maybe someone felt that there was unfinished business with you, or that you didn't feel complete. Like normally the World card is a celebration of completion of a cycle or completion of a specific thing that you were trying to attain within your circumstances. And it felt like you had to really, really fight in order to achieve that thing. But it does seem like you have been successful, because as we move away from this energy, the World in the reverse, the Five of Swords in the reverse, we'll move into the Seven of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles. So when we have the Seven of Cups, that shows a bunch of options, things that you can focus on. The Nine of Pentacles shows that you have an abundance with money and financial resources. It's also kind of like tapping into your own value system, things that you value. It's also about independence to an extent. So it seems that you have moved away from this feeling of being stuck and having to deal with the past and tie up loose ends rather. Moving into now, I have a lot of options and I have a lot of money that can help me to grow and figure out which direction to take from there on. So now we have the Three of Wands in the base of all of this, at the core of all of this. We have the Three of Wands and the Tower in the reverse. What is that Tower energy about? What is the Tower energy about? So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of storybook time. So we have the King of Pentacles. This is a person that had a lot of money that you were dealing with. The Hangman in the reverse, and the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. King and Queen of Pentacles. What I'm getting here is almost like a lopsided relationship that you had with someone who was able to keep all of the purse strings in the relationship that you were in. And additionally, this could not necessarily simply involve a romantic partnership. It could involve yourself in a work relationship where there was one person who was in the masculine energy who was working to deal with the dynamics of this relationship. I see a King of Pentacles upright, Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, and then the Hangman in the reverse. So it's like you want to get out of an unstuck situation where you felt that you were financially unstable, or maybe that the King of Pentacles had all the control. You yourself, as a feminine, were, had lost the control due to a situation where one person or the other also was not wanting to see any point of view or perspective other than their own. And so in doing this, now you have kind of released that Tower moment. This is you stepping out of a situation that could have ended in disaster for you specifically. And you were just waiting for that situation to, come to pass, so that way you could step forward with the next phase of your life. So, that's the energy that I'm getting here. I'm getting someone had all of the advantage in this relationship, and now you're finally getting out of that difficult situation. I would say if this was a marriage, the king, the male, had all of the finances. The queen was financially unstable. So the woman or feminine in this relationship suffered greatly due to, between the two of them, there was a lack of enlightenment, a lack of understanding of each other's perspective, because that's what the hangman does. The hangman puts themselves in uncomfortable situations in order for them to gain new perspective on what it is taking place within their lives, so that way they can receive the enlightenment and then finally move on from the 12 to the 13, which is the death phase, which is indicated in the outcome here. But the death phase, basically, when you're in hangman position, that represents Pisces. That's the reflective period that you have um, before, during, and after death. And so that's basically what's happening here. There was a lack of mutual understanding, seeing things from other people's point of view, the other's point of view. And it was eventually crippling the person who was the Queen of Pentacles. Now that we're moving out of that energy, this Queen of Pentacles could have received this money through a divorce or through something else, which is actually allowing, the Cancerian to move forward and be financially stable. Maybe that was one of the reasons why this felt like unfinished business, because, either there was divorce preparations or there was a court case that needed to settle before you could do this. And maybe you were tied up financially in lawyer fees, research fees, child fees, things of that nature, or potentially even something, like personal habits. Maybe you're spending too much or whatnot. But that devil energy that was initially there at the center of the whole spread could be that contract that was tying you together, because the devil does also represent contracts in which it is one-sided in nature. We then move on to the Emperor in the reverse, which is what's already known. We talk about the Emperor reverse, clarify that. So that's the 10 of Cups. So again, we talk about the dissolution of a family due to the head of household, who is the Emperor. And I'm pulling another card here. You have the 10 of Cups in the reverse and then the 9 of Swords. This is a very stressful situation where you were trying to pull yourself out of a relationship with a control freak. Potentially either you or the other person was a control freak, but I will say whoever was the masculine in this relationship was the control freak, because they have the King of Pentacles here, who was at the advantage, and then you have the Emperor in the reverse, who is the loss of power, the person who is, in their male energy, trying to control all of this that was taking place here, leading to the dissolution of the family, the 10 of Cups in the reverse, and creating a lot of mental stress for everyone as the situation, was unfolding. But now that you're out of that, you're finally moving into the 7 of Pentacles. The 7 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles. Options, money, success. So for you, what we see as the outcome of this, we have the 4 of Swords, we have the Death in the reverse, and then we have the Star. So speaking of 4 of Swords, this is time for a much needed break. You need to reflect on what has taken place within the relationship itself. 4 of Swords usually shows the 3 of Swords in the upright, hovering above the Ace of Swords, which is the enlightenment or the illumination that you receive due to reflecting on the 3 of Swords in the church. And then we move into Death in the reverse. You need to sit back and reflect on why this relationship took so long to die off. You need to be able to go through this change, which is essential to attaining progress and attaining a new state of existence. Death is always what comes after the hangman. After you've had that time to reflect, you then move into that transformative period. On the other side of death is 14, which is temperance. It's the balance that comes after going through that painful transition. This also represents the progress from Scorpio to Sagittarius. Scorpio being death, Sagittarius comes after that death period, moving into a sense of balance and renewed joy and optimism. And then this, speaking of optimism, you do have the Star here, which is the last bit of that outcome, the penultimate outcome for the reading. So with the Star, we talk about that renewed joy, that optimism, the healing that takes place, and understanding what is going to be your new wish fulfillment. Perhaps maybe you made a person your wish fulfillment. And then as the relationship began to dissolve, it put you in a very bad way, considering that Everything that you put your hopes and dreams into, which represents the star, was destroyed. And it's being realigned, which is what the process of death also talks about, moving away from the old into the new, which is going to then give you a newfound hope. And so after the tower comes the star. We have the tower here at the core of this reading. It's in the reverse. And then you have the star as the outcome. And typically with the Three of Wands and the tower in the reverse, what I would say is that you're waiting, possibly because you didn't want this relationship to end. Maybe you held on a bit too long to it and you tried to see if you could make it work. You tried to see if you could make things happen. And you're only delaying the inevitable. But what we have here, after that tower does fall, it finally does fall, you have the star, which then tells us, hey, it's over, the worst bit's over. Let's go ahead and move forward with renewed joy and optimism. Let's heal from the past and let's make sure that we are now in a better way. So that way we can rebuild that tower in a much more conducive manner to your life. And this is why all of this has taken place. New moon in Scorpio. Work through your fears. When you work through your fears, that death transformation, you can then start to grow. You can overcome the devilish energy that is in your life, the attachments to unhealthy situations, places, and things, unhealthy marriages, unhealthy contracts, to work situations. You are now moving into a place in which you yourself can overcome the reasons why you stay. We tend to do things out of fear. And what this does is this prevents us from seeing things as they are. A person can be afraid of being alone, so they get into unhealthy relationships. A person can be afraid of poverty, so they work themselves to death, or they are, they may do things to escape the poverty situation they're in. They may take drugs, they may rob people, they may do horrible things. I mean, fear makes us do horrible things, but it is an illusion, and that's what the devil reversed is all about. Working through those fears allows you to release those chains on your neck that have been placed around you. The devil is really just pointing that out in the Rider-Waite-Smith card. He sits atop the black box of Saturn. I was actually listening to a very, very informative um, YouTube post. I think it could have been Robert Sefier, or it could have been Agrippa's Diary, and they were talking about the origins of the Baphomet, things of that nature. And what it was talking about is it was the quintessential union of all opposites within the universe. And it represented the coming together, the union of all things that had been separated. So you have male and female energies, you have the Kundalini energy from the phallic caduceus in the Baphomet and all of that. It is a union of opposites. And what this then in turn does, it sits atop of the black box of Saturn. It's also a Capricorn card, so therefore it is shown as the highest pinnacle of what we have created in our lives. So you are now being forced to look at that, and it's being forced to say, okay, if there's anything negative that you need to let go of, this is where I'm pointing it out. And it's not just so much the as above, so below symbol that it shows, the salvia coagula, but it also talks about if you want to go here, you need to look at this first. Pointing upwards, if you want to go here, pointing downwards, you need to look at this first. This black box of Saturn. And everything in that picture of the Baphomet, it goes from the black box at the bottom to the flame of enlightenment at the top. And that is the flame of gnosis. It's not the black flame like a lot of, you know, Satanists or whatever you would call it. I think that they've quite perverted the whole concept of the Baphomet, which comes from a lot of the Eastern wisdom that was attained through the Knights Templars' interactions with the Middle East. So I don't like the perversion that takes place with the whole satanic movement. Looking at the symbol of the Baphomet, I think that it's time that we reclaim that symbol and bring it back to what it originally meant under the eyes of Eliphas Levé, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Alphonse Louis Constant, which was his original name. We need to go back into the more occult origins of that and see what it means. So when we look at the devil card, it would help to switch the meaning rather than saying, oh, this is what's toxic. It's like, no, he's pointing out what is toxic. And then he's putting you through a period where he's forcing you under that Saturnian energy to say, hey, you cannot be free until you take a look at what is holding you back. What black box of Saturn do you have in your life that weighs you from moving away? And how can you take those chains off so that you can become a much freer person? And I see you doing this, Cancer, in the Seven of Cups and Nine of Pentacles taking place in the near future. So that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been Aluminum Tarot. If you would like to, well, if you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates from future postings. And additionally, if you would like a personal reading with me, one that is in tune with your specific energies and not those of the collective, feel free to reach out to me at the information provided in the description box below. Had a pleasure reading for you today. Thank you, Cancer, and all the best to you for the new year. Happy New Year and happy holidays, belated holidays. And until next time, love and light. Bye now.